Rivers shape the United States, powering cities, feeding farms, moving goods, and carving canyons. Today, we count down the top 10 longest rivers that run through the U.S., from the Missouri to the Ohio, and show where they begin, where they end, what they bring to people and the economy, plus the dams and uses that keep America running. These rivers are measured by their main stems or by the portion inside the U.S. Different sources give slightly different numbers. I'll list each river, its origin and mouth, length, rounded, key states and cities, notable dams or infrastructure, typical flow or role, and why it matters economically and ecologically. The Missouri is the longest river in the U.S., rising in the Rocky Mountains of western Montana and flowing east and south to join the Mississippi at St. Louis. At roughly 2,340 miles, it runs through Montana, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. Major cities near it include Great Falls, Bismarck, Omaha, and Kansas City. Its massive dam and reservoir system, Fort Peck, Garrison, Oahe, Fort Randall, Gavin's Point, provides flood control, irrigation, hydropower, and navigation, supporting huge agricultural production across the plains. Next is the Mississippi, which runs from northern Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico for about 2,320 miles. It passes or borders 10 states and major cities like Minneapolis, St. Paul, St. Louis, Memphis, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. The Mississippi is an economic artery, commercial navigation, barges and ports, agriculture from the Midwest, and industries along its banks. Locks, levees, and navigation structures, plus tributary dams, shape its flow and commerce. The Yukon flows from British Columbia through Canada, and then across Alaska to the Bering Sea. About 1,180 miles lie inside the U.S. It's remote, historically essential for the Klondike Gold Rush, and today supports subsistence fishing, salmon runs, and small river communities like Dawson and Alaskan river towns. Unlike heavily dammed lower 48 rivers, the Yukon remains largely free-flowing, vital for ecosystems, fisheries, and native communities. The Rio Grande begins in the San Juan Mountains of Colorado and runs roughly 1,900 miles to the Gulf of Mexico, forming a long stretch of the U.S. and Mexico border. It flows through Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas, passing Albuquerque and El Paso on its course. Water management here is intense. Reservoirs and diversions supply irrigation, and cities in an arid region, and treaties govern international allocations. Overuse and drought have stressed the flow to the Gulf in many years. The Arkansas River originates in Colorado, cuts through Kansas and Oklahoma, then Arkansas before joining the Mississippi. At roughly 1,460 miles, it has a major inland navigation route, with the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River Navigation System, enabling barge traffic to the Mississippi. The river supports irrigation, industry, and navigation, linking interior agriculture to global markets. The Colorado flows from the Rockies in Colorado toward the Gulf of California, about 1,450 miles. It carved the Grand Canyon and supplies water to booming southwest urban centers, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. Major dams, Hoover and Glen Canyon, supply hydroelectric power, municipal water, irrigation, and recreation. But long-term overuse and drought have dramatically reduced flows and lowered reservoirs, with wide economic and ecological consequences. The Red River, often the Red River of the South, flows roughly 1,190 miles through Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana before meeting the Mississippi. Named for its reddish sediment, it's important for regional agriculture and navigation where channelized and dammed. It supports local economies and has historically been central to settlement and transport in the South Plains. The Columbia begins in British Columbia, flows into Washington, and forms much of the Oregon-Washington border before reaching the Pacific, about 1,140 miles. It's the Pacific Northwest's powerhouse. The Columbia's cascade of dams, Bonneville, Grand Coulee, McNary, and others, supply massive hydroelectric power, irrigation to fertile valleys, and navigation to ocean ports, powering industry and agriculture across the region. Rising in Wyoming, The Snake runs through Idaho and into Washington to join the Columbia, about 1,078 miles. It's essential for irrigation in the Snake River Plain and hosts many hydroelectric dams and reservoirs. Irrigation from the Snake fuels crops like potatoes and wheat. Hydropower provides regional electricity. But dams have also impacted salmon migrations, triggering fisheries and restoration debates. Rounding out the top 10 is the Ohio River, roughly 981 miles from Pittsburgh to the Mississippi near Cairo, Illinois. It flows past cities such as Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Louisville, powering industry, shipping coal and bulk goods, and serving many drinking water intakes. A navigable waterway system of locks and dams enables commerce. The Ohio Basin is heavily industrial and agricultural, and the river's health is critical for millions who rely on its water. Across these rivers, we see recurring themes. They're economic corridors, sources of irrigation and drinking water, and providers of hydropower and recreation. Major dams stabilize flow and provide power, but also alter ecosystems and fish migrations. Climate change, water demand, and pollution are the biggest threats, lowering flows, stressing farming and cities, and changing sediment and habitat dynamics. From the grain barges on the Mississippi and Missouri to the power turbines at Columbia and Hoover dams, these rivers quietly move goods, power homes, and feed communities. Millions of jobs and billions of dollars of commerce depend on them. If you enjoyed this river tour, like, subscribe, and tell us which river you'd like to explore in depth next: dams, ecosystems, or cities. See you in the next video.